Afternoon. Afternoon. Thank you for calling Dr. Wallace's office.
This is Sharon. Sharon, this is Aaliyah. I need to speak to Dr. Wallace.
Girl, she gone for the day. If this is urgent, we must advise you dial 911.
It's not urgent. It's not urgent. Sharon, thanks. I'll call back next week. Gee. You should apologize. Aaliyah, that was rude. You should apologize to Sharon for being rude.
Afternoon, Dr. Wallace's office. This is
Sharon, it's Aaliyah again. I just wanted to say I apologize for being impertinent, but say I got my test results and I just really needed to talk about them.
Girl, everything the same as the last time you called here talking about them. I'm gonna give you some sound advice. Take it one step at a time.
One step at a time. Thanks, Sharon. You have a good evening. That was a joke.
Hi. Y'all got questions?
You know what? I can make it work. It's just not many vegan options.
Gee, I didn't know you were a vegan. I thought you said you were a pegan.
On Saturdays and Sundays.
It's almost Saturday in 3.5 hours. It's okay to cheat every now and then. Not on a person. I would never cheat on you or anyone. Gosh, I didn't mean it like that.
Hey, is there something on my face? Why do you keep looking at me like that? I can't wait for my business to get off the ground, then pow, I'm out. Hey, listen. This is not my dream. Aaliyah, what's your dream?
I do whatever it takes to pay the bills.
You do?
I do.
I do. Till death do we part.
We haven't got to that part yet. Actually, where was I? Sorry, never officiated a wedding before.
I'm having second thoughts.
Drums kick in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside Out Podcast Live, featuring cast and crew of Don't Be Desperate. Today we have with us Sabrina Athena, who I am so excited to be in conversation with today. I think y'all are going to appreciate the gems she drops about production, specifically about juggling wearing multiple hats during this particular production and other productions as well. So we're going to get into it. Also speaking about when Sabrina was, when we were working on Don't Be Desperate, this was pre-motherhood for Sabrina. So also talking about the themes in the film and how those have come alive in different ways, or how Sabrina has come to understand those themes in different ways now that she is a mother of 2 beautiful twins. All right. Welcome, Sabrina. Hey, girl.
Hey, this is so exciting.
It is exciting. It is exciting.
I am like so stoked for this. You know, I found a nice quiet space. Yes. I have a white background. You know what I'm saying? I really like thought about making sure I've come prepared
Yeah.
for this conversation. It feels like a reality show, and then afterwards everybody gets all dressed up and they sit there when the conversation happens, and whoever it is like, so tell us what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna play around with with your wine. I'm gonna play. I just got water right now. I'm gonna play around with our angles, so to speak, to make it more dynamic. Because we're obviously filming remotely. All right, Sabrina, I would love for you to first of all talk about how you came into this project as best as you can remember it, because we worked together. So Sabrina and I met, I'll anchor. We met in 2018. And that's crazy. That was 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh.
So and we met on another project though that summer of 2018 and ended up working together on Love My Roomie. And it's funny because before we started this conversation, when Sabrina and I were backstage, we were talking about the way that I am. I guess I'm a queen of a pivot, and sometimes one project won't land and then I'll be like, well, what about this? Especially when I found team members that I feel like I'm working so well with, and I don't want people to lose momentum on their projects and building their resume. So, okay, how did you come into Don't Be Desperate? What's the backstory as you see it?
The backstory as I see it, and I am open and I really do like welcome any, well, what about this, Sabrina, type comments. I remember my earliest memory of working with you, Yamoria, was coming to a coffee shop and reading over a script because you needed a production manager and I needed a production manager credit. So, those two things came together really beautifully. I was already working in and around the New York City sort of like independent film scene. I started off modeling, and I wanted to be able to take my modeling career and evolve it into more than, just going to go sees and things like that, right? So long story short, you were asking me about how we met. This is my ADD.
It's all good.
I was at the coffee shop and we were talking, and I was sitting there. You were like, hey, here's the script. And I'm like, thanks. Okay, I'll go read it. You were like, no, please sit down. Read the scripts. I was like, oh. And I sat there and I read it and I was like, oh, wow. And I really understood why. That was like the first thing I learned from you. I really understood why you were insistent upon us sitting there. And then I'm going through the script. I'm telling you,
what script was it?
It was Love My Roomie.
Oh.
It was Love My Roomie. And you were like, I want you to go. At that point,
we were already working together on a different project, right?
What was the one before that? I think I was recommended to you from a chick who I worked on a commercial, a BMW commercial with, a little cute little blonde hair girl.
But we were working on something else together. Yeah, we were working on something else together. And
God, this is 10 years ago.
I had parted ways with that project. And
yes. Katie recommended me for that.
Yeah.
So we connected anyway.
Yeah, we had already connected. And then it ended up Love My Roomie. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Thank you for getting the history correct, because it's important. We tell correct history henceforth and forever. So yes, B-sides, and then you asked me to come in, and I sat there and I read that script, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And you were like, yeah, I want you to go through and I want you to, start thinking about the scenes, start thinking about this, start thinking about that. And this was all language that I was familiar with because I worked on set a lot, but I hadn't actually been responsible for it. And I was very, I believe I was transparent, like, okay, so this is my first go. And really, you took my hand. You went to film school. You have this incredible dynamic acting background, and my background is in marketing and taking pictures as a model. So it just was very welcoming, and I don't think that a lot of people have that experience when it comes down to being on a different format of film. So I had done documentary shooting. I had done a lot of field production and live location stuff. Shout out to my boy Brett, who's from Detroit and lives in New York. And that man always on the show, And he introduced me to the production life by just asking me. I was working a corporate job at the time. I had my laptop. I had 2 days remote, 3 days in office, right? That was back in those days, whatever that means. And so he goes, hey, you got a good license, right? And I'm like, yeah, I got a good license. He's like, okay, so I need you to just sit in this van here all day. Can you do that?
Wow.
And I was
Wow.
like, sure, I guess I could do that. I mean, what do I need to do? He said, absolutely nothing but listen to the radio, figure out what's going on, and flow with what I tell you to do. And when I tell you I made $250 that day for no good reason, and I got my work done on corporate too, I'm not going to suggest other people do this. This is only for those of us who are neurodivergent enough to make it work. So I ended up doing that PA job as a transportation PA job, and falling into a network of people who saw that I was on point and accountable and open, and I had my own ground and thoughts, and I worked through it
Mhm.
really well. And that's really, I think, what the film industry is interested in.
Mhm.
Are able to absorb what's around here and help things get better, because the less times we have to do stuff, the less trips we got to make back and forth. I mean, just as a very broad statement, the better. So I took a lot of different aspects of my life and the tools that I had gathered along the way through proposal management in corporate, through being a model, through all these other things, and also having a deep desire to be in the film industry in some way. You know what? It's funny. So when I was a young model, at one point I was signed with Ford Modeling Agency, and then I was dropped by them. And then, because I'm an in-betweenie, I'm like a size 8 to 12. I don't really get bigger or smaller than that. But those are the sizes that the fashion industry just wasn't understanding at the time. Now, my girl Ashley Graham holding it down, Tabria holding it down, Monique holding it down. I could go on and on. And I love y'all, my curvy model friends, but I was an in-betweenie. So people really wasn't rocking with me. And then I'm 6 foot tall. So yeah, she's a model, but she's a Brooke Shields model. She's a Tyra Banks model. She's all these other kind of models. And I didn't work a lot. So I was picked up by a major agency. They didn't know what to do with me. Okay, got to move on, do something else. And I'm like, I'm getting old. I'm 23. What what
Mhm.
do
Is that how you found your way into filmmaking in particular?
Particular.
Because the thing is, you were working, you had a lot of experience on reality and
Yeah.
unscripted in general, right? And so you were very much so had field producing experience that made you somebody who could be thrown into just almost any circumstance and figure out a way around it. I mean, I didn't even know. I didn't even really imagine how we would get around small company moves until you started being like, oh, we'll have a travel basket. And like it really, set the standard for me when it comes to production management and when it comes to being able to think on the fly.
Don't make
I
me cry yet. It's too early.
It's true. No, it's
It's
true.
too early.
It really set the standard for me the way that you work, because I mean, we were already, prior to bringing you on to Love My Roomie, we were already in many ways we were parsing together different roles that comprise a production manager, but we didn't have a
You need a
dedicated.
toolkit.
You said what?
You need a toolkit.
Yeah, but and we were able to get we partnerships, and we were able to get donations, and we were
Not
already.
without your push. I
You
was
said
so
what?
I was so uncomfortable. Not without your push. And I
Oh
didn't want to
yeah,
push
yeah.
you.
And I think that was one of the first tasks that you took on. But I would love for you, and folks,
Yeah.
we're gonna get into Don't Be Desperate, but I would love for you to talk about the realities of having to do outreach, because I think a lot of filmmakers
Mm.
don't account for that independently, depending on your experience and your budget. Like you'll have the line item of, okay, let's say crafty, or let's just say meals for the day is $200, like whatever, right? But let's talk about what that really looks like, Sabrina, to find ways to subsidize those costs, because while this is a line item, we really don't have it in our budget for $200. So I'd love
No,
for you
no,
to give some
no.
insight into the ways that you've had to work around that.
This is not my microphone. So let me tell you, that is the thing. I am really, really good. I've come to understand this about myself. There's so much I learned about myself while working in television and film production, and especially in a situation where I'm on set, I've done commercial sets, I've done new studio work, but I've never done this, which is scripted. Scripted has a different pace. And so again, Yamoria kind of would normally say something to me like, you don't know that? And then I'd be like, no. And she's like, oh, well, since you don't know that, let me tell you everything I know about it. Which was, again, a gem in this industry. People do not do that. And so she was able to really guide me. And I've always had a salesy kind of like vibe.
Yeah, you're good at talking to people.
I hate sales. I don't like being told no. So what ended up happening was I strengthened a muscle in that moment. You said, hey, we don't have a budget for this, and I know a way to get it. I'm like, all right, what's the way?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, you got to go ask people for food.
Don't say it like that, Sabrina.
And I was like, okay, so tell me what way do you see this working? And honestly, you broke down the whole ecosystem of fundraising for films, understanding where money actually comes from when it comes down to like us scrapping it together. This is 2018, people. This is not 2026. Yeah. This is a decade ago, dang near. When I'm not aging us, I'm using it as context, right? So what we did then, and Lord knows I would never ever think I would ever say this, but when we did that, it was then. We are in a different atmosphere now. I was able to reach out to Chipotle, the local bakeries, you name it. I went in and I asked them, and it took me like 3 weeks to do it because Yamoria is like, okay, so you did this, and this, great, but did you do this? And I'm like, about that. And it was the last thing I did.
What do you mean? You mean that I sometimes would like check in, like we have this on the list, cool, but like it's incomplete if we haven't.
If that ain't done, because how are we gonna eat, Sabrina? And I'm like, true. I feel you. That makes sense to me. We should be able to eat, and no, we don't have money for it. And secretly, I think it was maybe, I remember being on West 4th Street. I don't know which product. It might have been Love My Roomie still.
West 4th is definitely Love My Roomie. Yeah.
Yep. And ironically, it was June. It was Pride weekend. I have pictures.
Yep.
I always remember. So we were in the heat of it, and it was hot. And so yeah, that entire like situation, having to go door to door, asking to speak to the manager, asking, I have this letter that says we are a production and we are asking, can you please donate this for us because we have to eat and we don't have money to do it because we're doing this like, bare knuckle. And I got a lot of respect, honestly. People were like, some people said no. Some people said call corporate. You should have called them a month ago when Yamoria told you to call them in the first place. So I ended up having to learn my lessons literally like going door to door, which is why like now that I'm more in a political kind of place in my life, I know a lot about canvassing, but I will not go. It got done.
Yeah.
That box got done. There were certain times, like I was talking about Love My Roomie, something didn't go through or something happened, and I just went ahead and bought lunch because I was able to. I had a little room on my thing and I bought it, and you never knew, and I didn't want you to. Because you would have said, Sabrina, I will reimburse you. But yeah, I know. However, this isn't the production's fault. I see my fault. I want to contribute this way. So even if I have to be quiet about it, I'm going to do it this way. And that's sometimes, that's my mom's a teacher. She gives to her students. I'm a production manager. I give to my production. You're a coach. You give to your, you just give.
Yeah.
You give. You want to give.
Okay. I love what you're saying. I love these points that you're making, because one of the things that I think is so important for people to understand. Now, no one is saying, I'm not going to hear him preach. So I don't know, nobody's finances up in her. So I'm not going to say, oh, you got to do it like how Sabrina did it. But I do think that if we're going to tout around, I'm the producer, I'm the production manager, and we want these titles of these projects, you have to find a way to show up as that resource in some capacity. And I think that sometimes depending on what season you're at financially, that might look like actually fronting for the lunch, right? But that might look like being like, oh, I found this grant, do you want me to write the essay for it? Like, you've got to really I believe in people having leadership roles, but I also believe that throughout the process, we have to really check in with ourselves and say, am I walking in what this role requires? And am I willing to pivot,
Yeah.
right? Am I willing to pivot in order to meet the moment and understanding the vision? But I think, Sabrina, the reason why, in my opinion, and let me know what you think, that you were able to rise to the occasion in that way is because you understood the vision of Love My Roomie. We were on at that point. Love My Roomie already had a big cast and crew photo shoot. We had behind the cat.
Oh my gosh, we
Yeah,
did so much.
you're talking about.
We killed that thing.
You're
Okay.
talking about June 2019, which is where Pride weekend. But if you take it back 6 months, that is when we had that big cast photo shoot, followed by behind the scenes interviews that you were the interviewee. We had 2 makeup artists, we had hairstyling, we had wardrobe. Sabrina's place was where we all met up to do makeup in the morning. Our call time was like 6 a.m. And then it was a full press day, 12-hour day, just press. And then the next day was a shoot day. We had a later call time, but it was a shoot day at I'm seeing it, but it was where we shot the Giselle bar scenes. Yeah.
That was over in
With
Brooklyn,
Bernard
and it was a kind, and I love that bar. I forget the name of it.
and
It'll come back to me.
they had shut down post-pandemic, Black owned. I hope that Fig Bar.
Yeah,
Fig
New York
Bar?
ain't the same. The
I
what
think
bar?
it's Fig Bar. Is that right? Fig
I
Bar?
feel like there's an animal, a dog or something in the name of it. I'll have to ask my friend Kenny because she's the one who put me on in the first place.
Okay.
Shout out to my Brooklyn people. That was an era that I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit for how dope we are in our moments, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you look back at it, it's like, oh my goodness, that was crazy that we did
Yeah.
these things. And it's appropriate that we do that. It's healthy that we do that. We should do it, right?
I have wait, hold on. We got some folks in the chat. Good job, Miss. You look good, Sabrina. You adapt to your situations better than Mystique. Better than Mystique, whole expert shapeshifter. Love you, boo. I love that. I'm gonna show that comment. Love that.
Wow, thank you, Therencia.
Yeah, that's
my best friend from Texas. That's like the first place I went from Detroit. I'm well traveled. Again, it's a toolkit I've collected along the way, right? So from Detroit, I went to Texas, and I met Thencia at Houston-Tillotson College at the time.
Okay.
And she just made me her friend, and that was it.
I love that. I love those friendships where people are like, "You're gonna be my friend," and you're like, and then you're just, the rest is history. I love those connections.
And she taught me a lot. So a part of who I am is a lot of different relationships, including yourself, that has allowed me to become more equipped to be able to adapt to my situation in other countries, in other states, and other cities. And it's not everybody's gift, but I've come to understand that all of these tools really do accumulate into a bigger purpose. And at some point, I think after I had kids, I started really thinking about it like, okay, so what's going to outlive me? Not my beauty. It won't be that. I don't care. Cream it, cut it, tip it, nugget. What's going to outlive me? And I think that's probably something about maybe the way people feel, the way people are inspired to do better or their best, even in bad circumstances. Yeah, shape-shifting is necessary in this time. And I don't want to get it off into a ramble. I want to actually address something you said earlier about you were saying, I hate it when I do this. Again, neurodivergent also helps me do this. That's another thing. I have ADHD and I pay attention to 30 things at once. I can't say I give every ounce of attention to every single thing at once, but when it's your turn, you're ready.
We'll get it back. But I want to fast forward. So Love My Roomie wrapped in July of, into June, right before 4th of July, 2019. And it went on to live on my hard drive for about 6 months, until well, the trailer was cut from that, and that came out in August of 2019. Then it went on to live in my hard drive, and so fast forward to 2020, we were working. So this is what Sabrina was talking about on her post, y'all. She made a post today on Instagram. For those who are watching this after the Netflix trending post, for those that watch this years from now, that remember, for those that are watching this in 2 years, do you remember that time when everyone was doing the fake documentary and they're sitting down? It was like my Netflix documentary. Okay. So Sabrina did that for Don't Be Desperate, promoting this conversation. But she put, we were working on it from 2019 to 2021. And I was like, no, it was developed, cast, written.
We just never stopped working together.
We never stopped working. That's what it is. So, okay, so here's the timeline. So fast forward, y'all. And this is something that I'm trying to readopt into my life, to be honest. I think after Don't Be Desperate, combined with joining the ranks of wonderful, leadership teams and trying to push other people's work along, etc., I lost that vigor for my own work. And I honestly think I needed the break. I think I needed the break though, because in hindsight, talking to you and realizing we were really going full speed, and Love My Room.
Like normal pace, be New Yorkers, baby. You know what I'm saying? It didn't even matter. We were just like, what's tomorrow? What's tomorrow? What's tomorrow?
Exactly.
And it put me in a mindset of this is what it needs to be. And I had come from network stuff to come to your independent set, and your independent set was so tight shipped. You're like that. Okima's like that. That Brooklyn independent scene is something serious, and we only figured that out by leaving.
Yeah. That's true. And I think so we're fast forwarding. We're in 2020. Love My Roomies in post came out December 2nd, 2020 on Amazon Prime Video, which I feel was a great reward for everyone to have it on their televisions, where your families, no matter where they were, for the most part, at least internationally, could watch it. What's up?
Let's talk about the actresses that have gone on to do incredible.
Wait, hold on, girl. We're about to,
things.
Hold on. We're staying. This is about Sabrina Athena.
I'm sorry, I'm just so. This is a part of me. Like, okay, all right.
Hold on.
Y'all should Google that stuff. It's incredible.
It is
the eye for talent.
It is amazing though, because Love My Roomie, foundationally, I think for a good amount of us, planted a lot of seeds for people, and was good rehearsal for us, so that we could see everyone in different ways begin to blossom in their career. Everyone got reels. It has been foundationally an amazing thing. And it is the foundation that from which Don't Be Desperate came. So originally there was It Stays Here, was the second project after Love My Roomie, which is the prequel. This is what Sabrina was referring to in her post today.
It's very much an alive idea. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah, so It Stays Here was being cast at the same time we were in production for Love My Roomie. I don't know how we all did it, but we were. It was the prequel to it, prequel short film, so it lived in the same universe. Inspired by the character Umaraya Walters, played by Ashley Verscher, who has gone on to do major things and is still doing major things. I mean, they all are, but on television, Tyler Perry, etc. And so there was a lot discovered in writing Umaraya and adapting Umaraya to Ashley's instrument as Ashley continued to grow in her craft. I continue to grow in my craft and understand, like, how do I meet all of the talent that I'm writing for with where they are in their craft. And I wanted people to be able to shine and show nuance. Because at first, Umaraya was a very small character. Yasmin was bigger. And Giselle, my character, was bigger. Umaraya was kind of an afterthought when you think about the three of them. But then you start to realize there's these nuances. And so It Stays Here just resurfaced last year, and was in the TD Short Film Fund 2025 finalist. So that project hopefully will have some more wings and fly some more. But ultimately, what ended up happening next is Don't Be Desperate.
And that's the crazy part about it, right? I did not see Don't Be Desperate coming, but I saw Don't Be Desperate coming because, again, I think pace was just maybe, nothing else would have stopped us but COVID.
Yes, because it stays here. Remember, we had our locations. We were shooting at Giovanna's family house upstate. So
Oh
we
my gosh. And
COVID
so
is
yeah,
literally
it
what
was
stopped it.
so and that we were
We were
literally
already
at the
cast.
point we were cast, we had the script type, we
Yeah,
had
it was
locations,
done.
we had food, donations, we had
Yeah, it was set.
yeah, we were
Um,
in such a good flow.
as a
And
team
actually
because we went into another project.
each one of the Love My Roomies like has a different. You said, well, it was more this heavy or that heavy. It kind of gets Orange is the New Black, right?
Mhm.
Every episode gave each character an opportunity to have a
Yeah,
life and
yeah.
really taken in by the audience. And I think that that's really one of those methods that I would love to see more of,
Mhm,
truly.
mhm,
So I
mhm.
think that Umaraya does deserve her own situation because everybody needs to know what's going on with her. Tell
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
It-
bringing out my pencil so I don't forget what I want to say.
Okay, good, good. So Don't Be Desperate started because an actress had asked me to write some scenes for her reel. And so I wrote several different scenes. One of them was a quirky restaurant scene in which this woman has a bad date, a date gone bad. And that is literally how we got to the center and that restaurant scene that we see in Don't Be Desperate's official almost 30-minute short film, which is a very long short film and could have just with 20 minutes more been a short feature. Like,
It's a very dense topic.
yeah, it
It's
is.
kind of hard to tell a story like that in 30 minutes.
Yeah, it is. And
Period.
it is. But so what so
Very
I
layered.
so now we're in May 2021 and Sabrina, well, before Sabrina, I wrote this scene and then I called Mitzi Pratt and I was like,
Mhm.
Mitzi Pratt plays Mimi and Love My Roomie. And I said, I'm gonna shoot a film. And I was in LA at the time in a hotel. I didn't live in LA at the time. I don't live in LA now either, but I did live in LA. There's a lot that's happened in the past 8 years. Okay. So but I said, I'm gonna make a short film. We're gonna shoot a short film. And she was like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do it. And so I called
We're gonna do
Sabrina,
it.
we're gonna do it. I called Sabrina and I was like, we're gonna do it for a short film. Literally a week later, that was Memorial Day week. Literally a week later, we're having pre-production meetings. I have zero money in the bank for it. I have zero budget. I found money in a stashed away 401k from a startup company I worked at. And I was like, oh shoot. And ended up being the initial investment fund to securing the casting director, Tiffany Roche Williams. And so now all of a sudden I said, we're
Yeah.
going to take a project where we Love My Roomie was very much so. It took 5 years to make that project. So as people came along, talent
Yeah.
came along, it happened as I wrote and developed. But for Don't Be Desperate, I said, we are going to scale and we're going to continue and we're going to make this larger. With larger comes more responsibilities. The more you invest, please take this, indie filmmakers. I'm looking at you. The more you invest into a project, more money, more problems, right? So the stakes naturally get higher, and you have to be prepared for that. So before we get into the higher stakes in Don't Be Desperate and the lessons that you learned juggling multiple hats, I'd love for you to talk us through what a day looked like being Corinne / Sharon. If you haven't seen Don't Be Desperate, check in the caption below because the link to it is there, and also in the replay we'll have a little pop-up for you to watch Don't Be Desperate.
28 minutes of your life. Just
Yeah,
do it.
do it
Because
exactly.
something is gonna make you stop and look and you won't stop looking.
Exactly. And we're not going to explain, I won't be able to explain a bunch of backstory of the characters. We're going to get into it with understanding that you've watched it or you're about to. Okay. So you play Corinne and Sharon and Don't Be Desperate, but you were also the production manager. The associate producer role was, just packaged into that. It gave you more responsibility naturally, but what was a single day like for you? Like, what was one of the craziest days where you felt the multiple hats all in one? Talk to us. Tell us the real.
Ooh, girl. All right. So that wow. I look at this and I've said to myself, this is a capstone project for me because after Don't Be Desperate, I went directly into a different like aspect. It felt like falling off a cliff in Mario. Like all of a sudden you're running, you're doing great, and the finish line is right there in front of you, and then suddenly boom. everything comes to a bit of a halt. So Don't Be Desperate was honestly the last film that I was able to put my back into it. And that means a lot of what I was already doing, and I wanted to be in front of the camera.
Now,
Really,
of course, I'm like, you could do it, put your back into it. Okay, go ahead. Go.
you got to put elbow grease and back grease. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to grease it out. So the point. No, but seriously, like when something really touches your heart and you want to see it happen, you're gonna do what it takes to see it happen. And that's what it was. You were explaining about how, you have to have some connection to the project for you to see it through. And truth be told, that's so real. You gotta be able to sacrifice for it if that's what you want to see happen. And so there were sacrifices that I made, certainly. Um, and truth be told, again, throughout every aspect, but you need a ride or die. That's what it means. Like you need somebody that's going to. I'm
Mhm.
I'm I'm getting into this film. But go back to Pride Weekend, and one of our actresses decided to do something that you didn't like, and I was hosting her, and you were like, Sabrina,
I really don't remember this. I'm trying to. Okay, go ahead.
it's okay. And I remember being like, dang, call time is really 5 a.m. We should have finished up everything we were supposed to do yesterday. And now we got this situation because she thought she was going to hang out. And I don't feel, I was like, what do I do? I went in my house. And also, if you know New York City parking is wild.
Mhm.
Wild. You have to have a whole formula, that meme where everything come up and you just like, that is New York City parking. But once you know it, you know it. I knew that if I wanted to get a spot right by the location, I had to be there no later than 4:30, 5 a.m. Period. And we had a 9 o'clock call time. If I was to try to make a 9 o'clock call time and be on point, heck no. So I just went home, washed my face, got my clothes on, went back to set and went to sleep in my car so I would have that spot.
Wow.
And then that was exactly the same night that, it's like she needed to be on set the next day and she felt like she can, just kind of go hang out. And I was like, well, you're a grown person, bye.
I
And
don't
you're like,
remember any of this.
wow.
I remember the car. I actually do remember the car. I don't remember the talent situation, but I
But it was,
trust that
yeah,
it got handled because we filmed it.
it was thoroughly handled. This is one of
I
those stories
trust it got
that's like, wow, I can't believe this, we
handled.
survived it all.
And
And but I remember it being the same night, right?
okay.
Because because I was like in my feelings about it, like, dang man, I shouldn't have let her go. I should have tried to do something else. I don't know. And then I'm like, what can I do? And again, that's that ride or die. Like, look, I ain't gonna get no parking spot unless I get it. All right, let me wash my face, get myself together. I can sleep in the car. And it was hot outside. So I did
What I
that.
hear, yeah, what I hear y'all here is, and we're not telling you to do exactly what Sabrina did.
No, 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 no,
Sabrina
don't
is
do that.
built different, but not everybody's built for that. But I will say
I almost
that
forgot there was other people listening.
yeah, there are people listening. There'll be much more than these people here. Hi,
Right.
everybody that's here. Thank you so much. We are Inside Out Podcast live with Sabrina Athena, reflecting on collaboration. Don't Be Desperate being the center, but we haven't even gotten there yet, and we're getting nearer to the hour. So I do want to say though that one of the things that is important is being able to adapt and think outside of the box about what is necessary. Now, there's a difference between going out your way for a toxic environment where you don't know how it's going to benefit you, never preaching that, versus something where it's like, we're all in this together and the success of this is for us together. And I will say, this is for me personally, how I move. It was people like Sabrina in multiplied, right, across the team that made me say in post-production, I didn't raise the funds for post, but it was during the pandemic. I just started Inside Out Podcast actually, and it was like, I'm gonna do whatever needs to be done in order to pay for this to get through post-production, because I have to sneeze 1 second. Excuse me, y'all, because I want for everyone's hard work to feel like it truly paid off. And Love My Roomie in the beginning stages, when it used to be a pilot proof of concept, was very much so, when it was only like 20 minutes of content, was very much so. I was putting it through festivals, and now that was 2018. So right before Sabrina joined. But okay, so we landed Don't Be Desperate. I want to know, what is your advice to people who are like, okay, I'm the production manager, but I also want to roll in the film. Like, what do they need to be prepared to do if they're joining a particular project with the multi-hyphenate role? You know what I mean? Multiple roles within a project. What advice do you have?
Use every tool you got, and don't you're not gonna know if you're taking on more than you can handle. You're not gonna know that. At any point this gets uncomfortable, you can always say pineapples. Truly. Especially with a team like we had. And when I say, let me be very clear what I mean by that. It's okay to say this is too much and I need to do something else. And there was actually a very pivotal moment. And I love everything Yamoria just said too. I get into my flow, and if you know me, this is my normal, right? I just talk and talk. But to answer these questions meaningfully is really important to me. And I want people to know that what I went through is what I went through. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different way. And by no means would I ever encourage anybody to do something they're uncomfortable with because they feel like they need to do it to make it. Don't ever do that. I never did that. Please don't do that. And I had a whole anxiety attack. Because, okay, put yourself in this situation. And I think only a millennial could deal with this. Not to be funny, I love all my generations, but hear me out, okay? We had been filming at this very, very nice, gorgeous Airbnb. The Airbnb that influenced me to want to open my home in Highland Park to having my own content house and inviting everybody in, which did happen. Amen. So I'm at this gorgeous Airbnb and this gentleman who owns it lived in the back. And so I am connecting, like we had to use this house in every which way we could think to use it and go by his rules. But I think we ran so close up against the rules. And it wasn't our fault. Okay. It really wasn't our fault. Just suddenly, all of a sudden, one day, well, not one day, the day we were there, we're trying to like just get it all done. And then suddenly we know that there's a lot of rain coming. And New York don't be having hurricanes for real. I mean, there was something happened like a few years ago, but that's not a New York thing. It's a fluke. We saw that there was going to be crazy rain. And I had that Sharon picking up the phone scene to film. And I remember I had on my robe. We were all together. I was making sure that Crafty was in place. I'm hungry. I know they hungry. I know.
So place us. So you're in. Yeah. You're in costume.
I am.
Also making sure things are in place for Crafty. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm in costume in my robe. And
you appear as a character, but you're operating as Sabrina, the production manager, in that moment.
Exactly. But in that moment, I had other coverages for like the camera team and we had the AP right there, not the AP, excuse me, the AD. So there were people who, if I wasn't available, I gave them very strict, like this, I'm not going to be available to do this. Make sure that you cover this and this and this. So for example, with, let's say, no, ACs stay with the Cs. You can't mess with a camera person. They got to stay here. Nah, I'm thinking who is interchangeable, like a second AD maybe. Like, hey, look, during this particular time, I need you, the second AD, morph into a PA who will make sure that this place is closed off because I'm not able to fill that role right now.
I think it was in this case, Corinne, who was my director's assistant, filled in. Do you remember Corinne? My director's assistant would fill in some gaps, even being background.
No, we did it all.
Yeah.
Everybody was down for whatever. We had to get it done.
I think the lesson here that we could leave with people is, if you're going to have anyone on set, if you're that person on set wearing multiple hats, and one of those hats means you're a talent in front of the camera, there should be communication on who's going to handle your behind the camera role while you're in front of the camera. That's what I'm really hearing from you when it comes to that. Is there a moment where you wanted, where you needed to perform, you felt the need to perform both things? Like, is there a moment where I was like, Sabrina, you know,
Oh yeah.
places, and how did you handle that conflict of being like distracted by crafty not being right, or a meal being behind while you're in front of the camera? How do you switch that on and off?
So, question: how many days did we film? Was it 5?
Well, the beginning we filmed for 4 days. And
Okay.
then we had the rainstorm, so we couldn't wrap, which was a godsend actually, because that wasn't the right location for that scene. It was the last scene. And then we ended up picking, that was in late
Yeah.
August, and we ended up picking back up again in mid-October. So about 6-7 weeks later, we
Yeah.
resumed filming, and that was an additional 2 days. So it was a 6-day shoot.
I'm thinking of 2 separate aspects of the experience, because there's a hurricane and then there's the October shoot. And the October shoot came at a time in my life where I was still figuring out if I wanted to transition back to Detroit. How did I want to go about doing that? I had an apartment, I had all these things going on. So my brain, when you're asking these questions on how I like pivoted, keep going back to the hurricane situation. But let me go to that second October shoot. I was ready, because again, when I was dealing with a hurricane and all the staff in this poor man's house that just melted in the hurricane, all around us, and that's what set me off. And Maureen said, "Spray, just sit down. I got you. Thank you." And again, the team just all came through. Everybody came together. We got it all done. We melded and moved on. So October brought its own issues. And one of those was when we were at Prospect Park.
Yep.
And we were standing by that water, and we were ready to go on to our next scene.
Yep.
And there was a whole different plan for what was supposed to happen, like with Aaliyah's performance.
Yep.
And then suddenly we get a call like, "Hey, there's some construction going on
Yes.
next door."
You remember the story exactly how I remember it. Yep.
Excuse us? Like, we are in the middle of filming. Like, I am like, and I
We
think
were heading to that location. We were about to go.
right. And I've been answering these questions from a management end, because I'm doing a lot of management now. But as an actress, how do I maintain my character and switch out and be somebody else? I'm gonna keep it 1,000. A lot of who I am is in Sharon. It's like I was able to just kind of like shake it off, remember the words that were written for the character, and speak them as myself. I think that is really what helped me evolve too, and fall in love with being an actress, or even being someone with a voice that's camera facing.
I love what you said in those stressful moments where, and we're indie, and you know, and it happens, but with budget comes a little bit, usually a little more wiggle room, which might be a little bit presumptuous, but in indie, we know losing a location right when you're headed there can feel like one of the worst things that can happen on a day. Now we had connections, shout out to Jen Small at 333 Lounge, and they were able to say, and it was like, I think
Right
it
on
was
Fulton. Right on Fulton. Like
Fulton.
if you know Brooklyn, like we was just down beyond the Parkway. It was
Correct.
an amazing venue.
Correct. And so we got there and we were able to shoot. And the thing is, we had location scouted that venue, but they were charging beyond budget. So we ended up going with the venue that was going to charge a lesser, but obviously they had construction, so we could not, and they found out the day of. A lesson there that I think, that I know that I learned, that I pass on to teams, Sabrina, is assume nothing. Will I assume? Will I ask them, hey, do you know, is there construction going on? That's a lesson when it comes to events. Hey, what parades, what event is happening? That was the Love My Roomie lesson that we didn't dive too much into how that impacted production.
Oh my goodness.
When we filmed during Pride. So asking those questions, I think is really, I think it's really important. I think it also protects people who are approaching a project or involved in a project with many roles. The more organized you can be in pre-production and knowing all that stuff, the easier it is for you to make those pivots while you are still acting in character, etc. I want to fast forward though to the themes of Love My Roomie, about motherhood and about the desire. How has your life changed since filming it, and how do those themes resonate with you the same or differently?
Well, it's interesting because the way my life decided to, well, the choices I made, I questioned them. And I think people can relate to that. And I know it's kind of a jokey thing to say, but also I'm like, did I do the right thing? I know this crazy pandemic happened, et cetera, et cetera. But I really, 2019 was my year of ownership. I knew I was going to buy a house. I knew, like, I had literally matched my corporate salary because I was still working, mind you, during all of this. I don't work for them no more, whatever. I'm still working as a proposal manager for a BPO corporation and, living this already balanced life. So I have a natural knack for multitasking. And again, as I said, like sometimes I'll give light touches, light touches, light touches. My working style I've come to understand about myself is when it's like go time is go time and it's done. That's not, again, if that's you, if not, don't adapt that because it's not something I would definitely encourage. It's very stressful. But working on that, working on me, just being transparent. Coming to Detroit, I questioned myself, and then I had to remember that all the tools that I've collected to this point have frustrated me in a sense. It's like, why am I all over the place? I hated when people would say that to me, and I'm like, well, you ain't nowhere. So, but it would speak to me. It would make me think, and finally, I came to understand that it's bigger than, like, my gift isn't necessarily for the vanity of having a gift. My gift is for the community and helping them along too. And coming back to Detroit really helped me to realize that in a lot of meaningful ways, from all of the things that I'm doing now and even with the twins. So backing up to that, I didn't want to move home for a guy, but he was really special to me, and the city is special to me, and my parents are special to me, and it just seemed like the right move. Um, and I don't regret it by any means. It didn't turn out the way I
Ground
thought
us,
it would.
Sabrina. We don't. I understand, but assume the audience doesn't know what you're talking about when it comes to. So you're filming Don't Be Desperate. You moved after back to Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that, again, nobody saw this coming, right? We're
Mhm.
moving and grooving. We on a locomotive. We going fast,
Mhm.
fast, and then suddenly, what do you mean they're going to shut down all the flights? Because if they shut down all the flights, I'm getting on the next flight. You're not going to prep
Mhm.
me here.
Mhm.
Remember
Mhm.
that conversation?
I do.
And she and I,
That was Love My Roomie days though. That was 2020 when I said I
right?
had gotten home and I said, Sabrina, you need to go home because we were in the thick of
Yeah,
filming prepping. We're in pre-pro for It Stays Here, and I said you
yeah,
need to go home, and you're
yeah.
like, nah. And I said you really should go home. I think that, and my mom is a director at a hospital, and I said
Yes.
this seems very real. I think you should go home. And you caught one of the last flights out that were available at
No,
the time. You
I
drove,
packed
you ended up
I
driving.
packed a month worth of clothes and put it in my little car, and we hit the road, Jack. That was that.
Mhm,
Like I knew
mhm,
I was coming back. I didn't know when. I figured
mhm.
it'd be a month. It was much longer. And so not to COVID this out. I wanted to make sure because I'll go off wherever the heck I'm thinking.
I'm like, girl,
Bring
bring us
me
back to
back.
Don't Be Desperate.
Bring
But
me
you know
back
what?
to Don't Be
Fine. Like,
Desperate. So how
listen.
did my life change, right? And how did I see it? Bring me back. Like keep me on a yo-yo. Because I go places. So anyway,
2021.
21, I really wanted kids. I wanted them so bad. And I was getting older. Like I was at the time that I got pregnant was 37.
Mhm,
And this was after like 4 miscarriages. And I
mhm,
didn't know if I was going to have any kids. And it
mhm,
was hard. And it was a hard reality because, I mean, and this is a good story for the support of this context. For
mhm,
my personal life, the first time I got pregnant, I was so excited. And both of my sisters were pregnant at the same time. And there's 3 of us. And so I have a picture of us where I'm touching both of their bellies and they're touching mine because
mhm,
we were all pregnant at the same time. It was so special. And then I lost the baby. And it was just like, okay, well, it was never really it wasn't viable. The chromosomes didn't add up, whatever the math was. And it was hard to understand, but it was something I had to live with and move forward with. And so that, and please, but let me backtrack because this is something Yamori will want me to do. This is a sensitive topic. I speak to it with all love, peace, and sensitivity. If it's something that you're not comfortable with, by all means, come back in about 3 minutes.
I love that you know me well, and I wasn't thinking that, but that is a very Yamoria centered moment.
You're so considerate of so many people. And let me not get into another story. I want to keep it. The next time I had a miscarriage, I was in Japan because that was the guy I was with, and I was married to him. And then when I got back to the States, I decided that was, I didn't want to be married to him anymore. So I moved back to New York and continued my journey. And then there was children's dad, and the first time we tried, and it was really exciting, and then it didn't come to fruition. And so the second time I wasn't expecting anything but all right, we'll see you in 3 weeks when after it, whatever. I'm like, goodness gracious. Fine, let's just go get the sonogram. Fine. No, I don't need nobody to go with me. I'm cool. I'll be back. I just feel whatever. I'll make everything funny. That's why found out I'm a good comedian. Thank you for helping with that. And, I'm sitting there and the lady has this, thing on my stomach, and she's like, okay, all right. They don't let you see nothing because they don't want you feeling nothing. There's all these laws and rules. Okay, all right. Do you have twins in your family? Like, that's a weird question, lady. Like, why would you ask me that? Like, it blew my mind to know that not only were there 2 babies, there were 2 heartbeats.
Oh.
And I never had a heartbeat in my body outside of my own. And I wanted it so much. And I remember I ran straight to their dad and I was like, oh my God, look at this. Do you see it? And it's 2. And we just had a whole big, like, happy moment. They are so loved and so wanted. And they have a huge village now, although their dad and I aren't together anymore. So this conversation about not being desperate is kind of uncanny for me. I had this idea of this beautiful life back in the place I was raised. Like, I fought for that thing, honey. I mean, I was in the hospital raising both my babies like Simba next to the Renaissance Center. Like, you are born here for a reason. And then life continued to life. I bought a house. I bought another house. I got the babies. I'm across the street from my parents. I got stuff going on over here and there. Life got bigger because I got bigger. Physically, for sure. Funny enough, though, and I won't make this a whole long story, but shout out to my people who have issues with what is it? When you autoimmune diseases. So I was like living my life, but I was really stressed out. First time mom, I'm in this huge house, and the house was like, again, I bought it so we could do content. And then 2020 came along, and I'm like, great, you can do private content. I just started shaping it and spinning it and spinning it as things came along. And then when it came down to it, I was humongous and alone. I was
wait, hold on, hold that, because that is a major statement, and it isn't about body shaming anyone else. It's about how you in that moment felt, which I'm interpreting it that is, and let me know if this resonates, that you did not feel like yourself. You did not look how you perceive Sabrina Athena looks, and you were also alone. So it was the circumstances were doubly, triple isolating, because it's not like the reflection was who you see yourself as, how you feel comfortable moving through the world. Is that
makes a lot of sense. And truly, yes, it was a lot of new all over again. And again, I had moved from Detroit to Texas, from Texas to New York, from New York to Japan, back. I've done all this moving, and then I came to understand I've met one other lady like me, and I've seen one in a movie called The Matrix, and I really think I'm Oracle. I can see people real quick, real quick. I
Mm-hmm.
understand them. I know what they want. I know what they came for. And my brain, the way it works,
Mm-hmm.
I've come to understand myself and appreciate these as superpowers
Mm-hmm.
versus being like an odd thing. And I love the fact that like SZA has said more about it. I haven't gotten like a diagnosis since I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but going back and actually thinking about it, I know a lot of people who can relate, and we're like, well, maybe there's something that I could be doing differently to help exact my potential a bit better.
And what are
Or
you talking about specifically?
well, I mean, like, there's some basic stuff we can do for ourselves. And let me go back to the concept of not seeing me in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that took a lot. I'm in a new place again. Who is this? Now,
Mm-hmm.
mind you, as a model, I have been super skinny, and super skinny is relative. I was like a size 4 at 6 foot tall. And as an athlete, I was a size 10. I ran track my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So being a 4 was like, Sabrina, are you eating? Are you okay? Did you cut all your hair off on purpose? What happened?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody different for the first time. I was young when that happened. And so going back and forth and figuring out where my norm is it's been really important for me, because regardless who sees me, however, I know how I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm good at like a size 10, 12 for now.
Mm-hmm.
And I say for now because we grow and other things happen.
Right.
I'm not gonna be an old lady talking about I'm a size 12. Maybe I might just be an 18. But
Mm-hmm.
wherever I'm at in that time in life, I embrace the season.
Yeah, embrace
You
this.
gotta embrace the season.
What in the life that you lived between October, I think it was like October 18th, it was something like that, 2021 when we wrapped Don't Be Desperate, and where you are now, what have you learned that makes you understand women like Aaliyah more? Or that makes you want to pour into women like Aaliyah who feel like my life isn't where I want it to be because I don't have the children, because I don't have the partner. What has your experience taught you about those themes?
My experience has, I feel like I'm answering a college essay question in a way. Interesting. And you sent me the questions beforehand, but my brain is going in a different place right now.
Well, I didn't send you all the I did not send you most of the questions.
Good job.
Normally people if I don't know you and you want I
Mhm.
screamed it, like I wasn't about to tell Sabrina everything we were going to talk about. That's not what I'm going to do with I'm going to do with Sabrina. But go ahead.
When I start by repeating the question, I'm going to college in my mind. So
Don't go to college, go inside. All I'm asking is
inside out. Okay. I
yeah,
can do
inside
this.
out. Yes. All I'm asking is in the past, 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. How have you come to understand the themes of Don't Be Desperate differently? Or more?
Don't Be Desperate started off for me as a cautionary ideal, or just even a relatable ideal tale of having issues and wanting something that you don't yet have but have the potential to have. And so you do all the things you need to do to get it. And then once you have it, there's still life. There's still life after that. And so I have learned what I would say to Aaliyah right now. I'd be like, girl, look, take your time, one step at a time. No, I'm kidding. I would tell her that follow your dream, baby. Follow your dream, because your dream is always going to serve you. And when you find yourself in situations that no longer serve you, pack up your dream and go to the next place. I love the story of The Alchemist. And honestly, I think that I really started to understand that story too, in a sense. And wow, to compare Don't Be Desperate to The Alchemist is something. And I mean it.
I'll take it.
I mean it, because there's a next stage in this, and there's a next challenge in this. And don't think that once this happens, it's like everything just becomes peachy. So in this phase of my life, this is how I'm using that lesson. Is that a good way to segue it?
Beautiful.
At this point in my life, I am, and I was saying, shout out to the people who have autoimmune issues. I ended up having Graves' disease and losing a lot of weight. And then, so now I'm like back into this like kind of I'm big and I don't have nothing to prove. It's fine.
Mhm.
I feel good about myself. I feel good in my body, and I'm dating and in dating with as a single mom. There's a lot of jokes online about us, and most of them are true. But I will say,
Yeah.
I gotta laugh too because I'll be like, I only got 3 hours to talk to anybody. Not anybody, not even just like my mom. If I had a boss, like I'm my own boss now. I'm an entrepreneur. Thank God. I don't see how else it would work with me being a single mother of twins.
Mhm.
That's crazy. It's
Mhm.
crazy. And then I got a house and all that. Please. I had to move out of the house on Highland Park because it was too big. I got a house that was smaller across the street from my parents, and God saw it to be fit because the same way we ain't had that money for that movie, I ain't had the money for these houses. Like, don't play. Like, I had what I had, and I budgeted to do some things, and I was excited for it. But I had another house and another. I kind of feel like having twins. So I think that this idea of having it all together or
Mhm.
conforming to some societal norm, don't let that be your
Mhm.
motivation because
Yeah.
everything has a season. And if it's
Mhm.
meant for you, it's not going to miss you.
Yep.
It's not going to miss you. And in dating, I learned that, oh, wow, even when I do have it all the way together, like let's say everything was peachy keen, right? I got all the bills paid, I got this, I got that, and all the, you can run the list of the independent
Mhm.
women, blah, 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 blah. And then you got all those checked out, and then there's the balance. Guess what else is
Mhm.
crazy heavy? You're lonely.
Mm.
But you balanced, you're extreme. Bring
Mhm.
it in a little bit. Come to center with things. Go outside and walk and touch grass because we are only here now.
Mhm.
We are only really here now.
Mhm.
And you miss your now by trying to exact some version of you that society is interested in seeing based on your perception. No.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You gotta let that sit. You gotta let that sit because that was good. That was good. You will miss your here and now because you are focused or trying to exact some version of you that doesn't even exist here and now.
Yeah.
Like we can always work to improve whatever in certain circumstance, but the only thing that's promised is this moment right now, and then
Mhm.
the next, and we're stacking the moments.
You had some moments. You got now, you might have later, but you don't know.
You don't
And
know.
as somebody who is lived through a lot of different things. And I think that's where people, we laugh. Again, I talk about millennials from a perspective of, do you understand the transitions we experienced as tragedies?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't just happen. No, it wasn't an introduction in a handbook and nothing. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't get none of that. It was just like, boom, now it's different. You ain't got a phone in the house. You got a phone with you, though. You
Mm-hmm.
are a house. You get your own phone. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I can talk on the computer like this. It's crazy. But I think that we're the first generation to deal with a lot of this. So
Yeah.
off the millennial rant. Yeah, there's so many things that I've definitely taken to now. And I think that
We have a good affirmation for you, and because don't be desperate starts with affirmations.
yes.
You look good as beep, Sabrina.
Thank you. Thank you, Erie. Oh, that's that actually she's oh gosh, when we get into what we got going on now, Erie, thank you for tuning in. I'm working on a fashion show. So I went from film
Okay.
to fashion in Detroit and really focused on the fashion production aspects. We'll get there. But we'll put
I
a pin.
love
Thank
it.
you, Erie. DTV Men's fashion show, October 10th, y'all. Okay. DTV Bank.
Love it. Well, we're actually getting to time, believe it or not.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
I mean, it's been look at our ticker. Can you see the ticker? It's
I see
been
it's 7:08. Yeah, I think I was scheduled to 8:30, but okay.
no, you
So
girl, you wasn't. No, let me look at my calendar here. Sabrina, yeah, 15 after. 15 after.
I was like, if it wasn't 30, it was 15 knowing you. So okay, you don't get a prize as a husband at the end.
Ooh, talk about that. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't wanna lose that concept because that's really what again, my most recent thing I've really thought about, like, wow, okay, you are deserving of love at all times, whether you have a baby or a uterus or whatever, a good working one, a bad working one, a short hair, long hair, fat, skinny, whoever you are in this moment is who you're meant to be right now. So embrace that and know that this version of you deserves love too. So instead of pushing people away until you think that you're ready and you have all your shit together, that never actually happens, Aaliyah. And regardless, embrace love as it approaches you, because it's a good thing. You need to be open to good things.
Sabrina, that's so beautiful. You need to be open to good things. Y'all, how you feeling in the comments? So cute or whatever. So cute or whatever.
Yeah, thanks to you. Well, excuse me, Fidencia Thomas, who is getting married in DR next year, and I'm going to go and be her flower girl.
Aw.
Fairy. I'm her flower fairy.
Flower fairy, I love that. That is so beautiful. You are dropping some gems. Okay, so before we leave on Inside Out Podcast, I love to ask a three-part question. It's hurt, heal, joy. What in this world is currently hurting you? What do you want to heal? And what brings you joy? In no particular order. And if you need me to call it back out again, I can. Hurt, heal, joy.
Heal comes first. And it's because it's been my main focus, the things that I really wanted in my life, whether it was my own actions and decisions or anybody else's. It's not a blame game, it's an acceptance. And acceptance is healing. And I always thought understanding was healing, and I sought a lot of understanding, but I realize now that it's not so much understanding that heals you, it's acceptance. You may never understand why stuff go down the way it do. Accept, forgive, and heal in a place that's safe for you. What's hurting me is my compulsive overthinking. If anybody can relate.
Mm-hmm.
And the procrastination nation. Bro, like it's like, why do we do that? That hurts a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, it's like I think that balance, going to the gym, going back to healing, making sure that you're asserting the right amount of energy and getting the right amount of calories and the right amount of sleep and water. As a plant that is living, walking, breathing, talking, you have to give yourself all of those things, and only you are responsible for it. Don't think that anybody else is responsible for you getting what you need to live and exist as a human. Basic needs. You said heal, hurt, and what else?
Joy. What right now is bringing you joy?
Them babies.
Them babies.
My twins are the bomb. You know what really brings me joy? Introducing them to new music. And so they know Jingling Baby. They know, they know a bunch of Make Them Say, that it's I
The
think
fact that it's old millennial music and you're calling it new music.
And right? And but those are like funny sounds.
Yeah, the kid, yeah.
So I'm finding a lot of joy in being a mom. I was so excited for that, and there's nothing on this world that can steal my joy when it comes to anything, and definitely not them babies. They are, and I say that from a place of healing. I don't know if we ever really get there, but every day I have to make a choice to choose joy versus the thoughts that might hinder me and do not serve me. So if joy is mine, I get to do what I want with it. And sometimes it's make them say, and sometimes it's, all right, babies, let's go to the park. It's after school. Y'all got an hour. They are teaching me something every day. And I'm definitely a better woman for them. And my purpose is understood more as an entertainer from their existence. I know that it's not about my vanity in the world. Again, I'd like to just kind of land here. It's about how can my voice support my community in a way that's effective and leaves legacy for change, because legacy, technically, in my perspective, and we can look it up online and y'all look it up in a dictionary, I ain't got time for that. Legacy is inspiration for the future.
Mm-hmm.
If I think of the legacy of Harriet Tubman, I was talking to a Canadian person today because I'm right here in Michigan. And she has a church in Toronto that I didn't even know about. That's legacy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Think future when you make decisions.
I love that. Before we part ways, would love to know more about how we can support you. And I know October 10th, you have something special going on, so talk to us.
Okay, so let me first and foremost start with something that I owe a debt to, and it's a debt of my heart. You know how I work. I have been so excited to number one launch my company, the Goddess Workshop. It Right. And so we need a space for our gifts and the way
Mm,
we exchange and do work because our work is supposed to provide for us. I'm
yeah.
Christian, so you'll hear me talk a lot of
Mm-hmm.
scriptural type stuff. And being back in Detroit, Lord help me, that is a whole nother thing. The Mecca. So what up though? And know that Detroit deserves good coaching and strong love, and I
Mm.
have that for talent and gifted people. I want to help navigate careers. I'm navigating my own career here. I'm working with the Boys and Girls Club at Michigan Central.
I got a
Usher,
hello, Sabrina. Proud of you. Sorry to cut you.
Mike. Yeah, no, hey, Mike, and that's my client. So with the Goddess Workshop, I'm working with Michael Harris, who is going to be on the City Council of Flint, District 9.
Wow.
And that's he's taking his seat in November, but I get to use my marketing degree from FIT to help him and maintain like a rapport and a relationship with him to help him understand how to exact his message as
Mm-hmm.
a politician, as a lawyer, as a doctor, because these are my clients now. And
Yeah.
that I never saw my gifting going into that. But again, I'm embracing the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Goddess Workshop does all of that. I'm thankful I have an office in Greektown. Hosting wise, I want to shout out my girl Leslie. And the next fashion show I'm hosting is called Walk on the Wild Side. This is an award-winning fashion show in Detroit. The locals love it. If you know anything about the D, you know that we are very insulary, and our
Mm-hmm.
insulary, like if you got voted best in Detroit, what's that about?
Yeah.
Like, who liked it, right? So
Uh-huh.
we have a very high standard for entertainment and fashion and all of that, and I love to help the world take it in. So Walk on the Wild Side, that is going to be,
Ooh.
oh God, it's in October. It's before the other show, and I'm hosting it. I'm the Grandmaster hostess, and I'm excited because I've been practicing that, and it's been fun. So also hosting the Wake Up Call with Horace Sheffield. That is Mary Sheffield's daddy. That is the mayor. He a trip, I'm a trip, we all be tripping. So tune into that on Saturday.
I
Tune
love
in
it.
on Saturdays from 8 to 10. My God. Oh my gosh. Influence Thursdays, every other Thursday at Hotel St. Regis. Again, a lot of what I do is so super local.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Influence Thursdays, every other Thursday at Hotel St. Regis. Every time we do it, there's a different entity that hosts it because it's not going to be all about me. I can't
Mm-hmm.
show up every other Thursday and make this Sabrina Athena thing. I'm not a promoter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm a community activist that helps connect people and bridges and ideas.
I love it.
And that's what I do. And so that's my summary. So I do
I
so much.
love it. Sabrina, it's been so amazing having you here this evening. I
Yay.
think this has been so rich, and I knew I have, tons of questions, and I knew that we wouldn't need them. They were at best guides to make sure there's certain things that I touched upon. But
You
it's
know how to
beautiful.
get it out of me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see your journey and where where you are, but also where you're going, and just also your groundedness and your faith, and that carrying you through and choosing joy. It's very powerful. So I hope you continue to just rely on God for all of your needs, and that you really protect that joy in spite of everything. It's very special. And I know along the way you'll continue to teach people how to incorporate some of that Sabrina grit into whatever
Get it
production
done.
jobs, right? That get it done.
Just get it done. That's all we care about. Make
Get
sure
it
it's done and
done.
it's quality. And if it is, then you're in good shape. And choose peace too.
Choose
Protect your
peace.
peace.
Yeah.
Because sometimes protecting your peace looks like not entertaining what you know is going to tick you off. Or if you're
Yeah.
right and they're wrong, whatever the case may be, remember it's not your ego, it's your peace you got
Mhm.
to protect because
Yes.
you can't go to jail. Can't
Yeah.
you can't go to jail.
I love it.
Protect your
I just
peace.
said, rely on God. Okay, resume. You just gonna force her to, okay, resume. Just gonna force her to go till 8:30. So that made yeah, I know. All right, Sabrina, this is another episode of Inside Out Podcast. Y'all, thank you so much. My name is Yamoria Wright. Until next time, peace out. Make sure you subscribe, follow, comment. All of that matters. Thank you, Sabrina, again for being here with me, y'all. Much love.
You guys, thank you. Thank you. Love you, Moria.
Love you too, Sabrina. Thank you. Bye, y'all.